So hey y'all, I'm back with another video. So tonight's video is yet again another Chioma Chats video podcast edition. So by the title, we're gonna be talking about the luxury lie and why your $2,000 purse was made in the same factory as the $20 one. Now listen, I wanna be very clear up front, okay? This is not a video to bash people who love luxury or to act like designer isn't nice, because let's be honest, I love luxury too. I have a few designer bags, shoes, and items that I've worked hard for, and I know how good it feels to treat yourself. So I'm never here to shame people for wanting nice things or enjoying that soft life, right? But what I am here to talk about is the illusion that we've been sold around luxury and branding and what these items actually mean. Because lately, people have been waking up to the fact that the bags we're told are handmade with Italian leather are often made in the exact same factories as your $20 Shein purse. How about that? And when you really sit and think about that, when you realize that a $2,000 price tag isn't about quality, but about marketing, labels, and social status, you start to see how deep the deception is running. Over the last few decades, but especially since the rise of social media, we have become obsessed with luxury as a society, so much so that we don't even question it anymore. And what is wild is how the pressure to look wealthy has now trickled down into everyday people. Back when I was in high school, a Victoria's Secret pink tracksuit was considered expensive. It was like $80. But now 16-year-olds are wearing Palm Angels tracksuits, Balenciaga, and carrying mini Birkins. And I'm exaggerating, but y'all know what I mean, right? And that's not even an accident. This is the result of a very calculated machine of celebrity influence, influencer marketing, psychological pricing, and globalization, all wrapped up into a monogram label on a piece of leather or cloth material that you call a purse. So I wanted to talk about this because due to the Trump tariffs against China, and I will be talking about that, and the exposés that I've been seeing all over social media about real factories being behind luxury goods and the marketing tactics brands are using to hook us in, it's very much given that we've been scammed. So I've broken this video down into 5 main talking points. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. So my first point is the globalization of manufacturing. Let's take it back, okay? We're gonna do a little bit of economics here. Luxury goods used to be associated with handcrafted European exclusivity, right? The labels that say Swiss made or made in Italy or whatever were technically authentic representations in the beginning. These fashion houses did start off with the intent to be high-end, exclusive, and made wherever it said it was made, right? But in today's globalized economy where we can reach people just like that, it's really more about branding illusion. So the truth is, most luxury fashion houses outsource labor to the same international factories that also manufacture fast fashion. In simple terms, your Fashion Nova top may be made in the same factory as your Gucci shirt. It's all about cutting costs while keeping the retail price high because everybody wants to make profit. Countries like China, Vietnam, Bangladesh, and Cambodia are basically like hubs for mass production, not just for Shein or Fashion Nova, but for major fashion houses like Prada, Coach, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, y'all get it. So as a global society, we've been kind of conditioned to believe that when something says made in Italy, that it means that it's something sacred. But even that often refers to the final assembly, not the full supply chain. So what I mean is 90% of the bag is probably constructed in a Chinese sweatshop. And then the last 10%, which is probably the packaging or a single embellishment to the bag, is done in a country like France or a city like Milan. And with rising manufacturing costs and international trade policies constantly changing because of Trump, even the most elite brands are trying to change their production and create an increased profit. Everybody is struggling, y'all. Even these top 1% earners too. It's all a business move and it does not guarantee quality. And once you realize that they're all working with the same factories, it's easy to see how we're low-key but high-key being scammed. Moving on to my second point, which is the psychology of luxury pricing. I researched this so much because y'all ever seen that viral TikTok where the girl was like about to go to Lulu and then she walked in there and she seen them prices and she's like, okay, I'm leaving Lulu.
Let's go see what's up with Lulu. Let's go get the fuck out of Lulu.
Yeah, y'all, exactly. The pricing psychology is actually mind-boggling when you think about how they go about it. Luxury branding doesn't just sell clothes or bags, it actually sells status. People aren't buying a Chanel purse because how it feels in their hand, they're buying it because what it represents. The bag says, I've arrived, I'm rich, I'm her, I've made it. It's identity signaling to a certain status of opulence, and brands definitely know that. That's why they use scarcity and exclusivity and influencer marketing to make us crave their logos like their trophies. trophies. Have you ever seen people's collection of designer items? They literally put it up like a trophy. If y'all didn't know, apparently you can't just walk into an Hermes store and buy a Birkin bag. You have to be an avid shopper, and then eventually after you buy X amount of items over X amount of years, then you get invited to buy a Birkin by being placed on a list once Hermes deems you a loyal client. Then you're on a wait list like forever, maybe sometimes months or years, and then they tell you that your bag is ready. You don't get to pick out the Birkin or see the bag or pick the size or color or anything. That's how Hermes uses scarcity and exclusivity in their ways of marketing. In my opinion, Birkin bags look too basic for the cost, but I do think they're probably well made, and they say they're great investments if you get your hands on one. So there is a whole psychology behind luxury pricing. Have y'all ever heard of the Veblen effect? It's basically when demand goes up as the price goes up, simply because expensive things feel more desirable. Shout out to my sophomore year of college economics class. I withdrew from the class, but I did learn that. So when you buy a $2,000 bag, you're not buying a $2,000 quality product. You're buying into social hierarchy. We've been programmed to chase these symbols of wealth because the fashion industry made them seem aspirational. It's not about how well the bag is made. It's about whether people recognize it. And the craziest part is once you realize that you're just paying for the idea of luxury, the appeal kind of starts to fade. And then the second half to the psychology of the pricing is how it breaks the illusions of exclusivity, as people have been catching on. Now that the curtain is being pulled back and people realize that their luxury pieces are made in the same regions and under the same labor conditions as affordable fashion, the entire illusion starts to fall down like London Bridge. You thought it was made in London, but it was really made in a place less than. Exclusivity relies on being a secret, right? But now with social media and TikTok and Reddit threads, which I've all been on, and full YouTube exposés like the video that I'm doing right now, it's actually made it harder for luxury brands to maintain that mystique. The younger generation is way more informed. Us Gen Z and even some of us younger millennials are asking questions like, why am I paying $1,000 for a bag that costs $90 to make? And brands don't have good answers. So what do? They lean in harder to marketing. They get more celebrity endorsements, more artificial scarcity, and do more limited drops to maintain the hype. But it's not working like it used to, okay? Consumers are starting to realize that they're being manipulated. And once you really break that trust, it's kind of hard to sell the dream of luxury again. So my third point touches on the influence of celebrity and designer obsession. This one I have to talk about. So for years, maybe even decades, our obsession with luxury was fueled by celebrity culture. Once we could keep up with our favorite stars in real time thanks to Instagram, the pressure to mimic their lifestyles basically went up as well. Back in the early 2000s, having a Juicy Couture or Victoria's Secret pink tracksuit was like a big deal. Now we've got teenagers wearing $1,000 Palm Angels tracksuits like it's nothing, like I said earlier. And celebrities haven't helped either. Some have called their fans broke or belittled people for not keeping up with them without even acknowledging that they themselves are being gifted designer stuff or being paid to promote them. And it creates this unhealthy dynamic where people feel like they have to spend money that they don't have just to feel worthy. But with all of the recent TikTok exposés on where these goods actually come from, it's kind of blowing up that entire dynamic. And it turns out we're all wearing the same things. Some just come with a logo and a 5-digit markup. So to all the celebrities that have looked down on us regular people or put luxury lifestyles over their character and morals, all I have to say is, gotcha. Because in reality, myself and let's say Jada Wada may have a bag of 2 different price points, but they may be made in the same material and in the same factory. I think this is another reason as to why celebrity culture is dying down a bit, particularly the influencer culture, because people have caught on to how inaccurate the wealth gap is, and we truly do have bigger fish to fry. And now to see that we might have bags of the same quality but different prices, it doesn't add to people being as designer obsessed as society is or once was. Now moving on to my fourth point, let's wake up the role of Chinese tariffs and Trump's policies. Now, the last time I spoke about something political, it was not good for my channel and I lost the sponsorship. But I absolutely have to touch on this. We cannot ignore the political aspect of this all. So Donald Trump recently enacted heavy tariffs on Chinese goods, and it has sent a lot of shockwaves through the retail and manufacturing industries. So a lot of brands had to adapt really quickly, either by raising their prices or just shifting their production. Apparently, the original goal was to bring back jobs to America, but what it really did was force a lot of brands to be a lot more strategic about hiding where their goods actually come from, aka China. Some of the brands simply just took on the cost to just maintain that image, where a lot of them kind of quietly started sourcing from even cheaper places just to cut corners. And basically what the result is people started seeing that everything was coming from the same places. I've been on TikTok getting so many vendors. When I tell you my WhatsApp is going up right now because I'm getting the vendors straight from the vendor.
Love what China doing. Keep on exposing these big brands. I just saw a video of this lady saying that, yeah, Lululemon, yeah, those leggings that y'all are paying $100 for, $5-6 over there. Like, and they so petty because now the suppliers are saying, hey, y'all can just come to us directly. You ain't even got to do all that. Don't go to Alibaba. You come right to us. And those wedding bands that y'all are paying thousands of dollars for, you can get that same wedding band for $2. And he really think he doing something with these tariffs. Like, you ain't doing nothing but just exposing yourself and exposing this country. Like, this back and forth mess that he's doing, he's just causing such a big mess. And you can tell that they're getting scared now because now all of a sudden they are saying, hey, well, you know what? It's not going to be on electronics anymore. Not on the electronics, because they saw that Apple went over there and took them phones and flew them back over here. They said, oh, not us. I hope that this is the end of the whole knockoffs conversation. Like, it's all coming from this.
So Trump's tariffs actually started back in like 2018 during his first presidency. So to make it simple, the United States basically imposed massive tariffs on Chinese goods as a part of this ongoing trade war, because you know that's how people fight wars now. These tariffs were meant to like punish China economically and bring more manufacturing back to the US. Like I said, it's supposed to be to bring more jobs to the US. I think there's a better way to do this, but hey, I'm not in charge. So in reality, all this did and is doing is kind of hiking up the prices for American people. So the luxury and fashion industries are being hit hard because so many of their goods, even the ones that say Italian made, are actually mass manufactured in China. So now American people, especially people in like lower and middle class, are really paying the price. Like literally, the tariffs didn't really stop any brand from like outsourcing. They just kind of passed the cost on to the consumers. So the $2,000 price tag on that designer bag isn't just about the logo anymore. It's inflated by taxes and duties and basically politics. Despite all of the tariffs and stuff, many of the same factories in China definitely still produce for both luxury brands and fast fashion companies. Nothing changed. So whether it's Balenciaga or Shein, it might still be coming off the same assembly line. And what this is really exposing is how ineffective and honestly performative these Trump tariffs are. I'm not trying to get political, I'm just saying. All of this was basically sold to the public as a way to protect American jobs and strengthen the economy, but instead what it's doing is increasing prices without any real change in production. And now here we are as regular consumers realizing that the policy doesn't even serve us, but basically serves the corporate giants who are just going to adjust their prices and keep it pushing anyway. Now, my fifth and final point is figuring out why we still chase labels anyway. So even with all of this knowledge, and y'all don't ever say I don't talk about real stuff, because I've been trying to go a little bit deeper on issues. I really researched this one, but many of us are still like emotionally attached to designer labels. Let's be real. Like I said, I have designer items, and I don't think the problem is wanting a label if you genuinely like an item. But I do think that we have been conditioned since like childhood to associate brands with value, confidence, and success. So wearing luxury makes people feel validated, respected, even admired, right? It becomes part of someone's identity in some cases. But the thing is, validation rooted in branding is definitely always temporary. The label doesn't change who you are. It only changes how people perceive you. Trust me, I know a lot of rich lames wearing designer right now. Y'all know them girls. And in a world where perception often kind of like outweighs reality, that's why people keep chasing it. Like more and more people are realizing that true luxury isn't about labels. It's about how something makes you feel, how long it lasts, and whether it aligns with your true values. So overall, we're living in a moment where transparency is trending, and that's beautiful, but people are choosing sustainability over status. People want pieces that feel good, that last long, and align with who they are, not just what they want to portray. It does not mean that luxury is over, but it does mean that luxury has to evolve, because we now know that a lot of it is a lie. And like I said, this isn't about shaming anyone who enjoys designer. I've got my share of stuff and I still love beautiful things, but I also think we're entering a new era where the label doesn't hold as much weight as it used to. Basically, luxury is definitely a lie. So that is it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Please let me know your commentary on my commentary down below. What do you think? What do you know? Let me know. If y'all haven't already, make sure you guys are subscribed. Welcome to my new people. If you're returning, hey girl, hey guys. And as always, don't forget to follow me on all of my social media networks, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye y'all.
Sofas and your sectionals, you know, and he said he trying to Cuban link me because I left my mark. I'm so unforgettable, and I got real bars, real music, real talent, and it's like they just wanna be Jezebel. Keep it real P, like I gotta use the bathroom. Rain, I'm on them all, but this is not Seattle. 4-minute song full of bars, no hassle. Already took the throne, and I'm living in a castle.